The walls are still standing. The lights still work. Outside, the street is almost quiet. But your home may already be turning into a trap. A hurricane does not wait until landfall to test you. It begins with a warning, a map, and a shrinking window in which every choice becomes harder. Most people imagine the wind. History teaches a colder lesson. In many hurricanes, the water becomes the real killer long before the roof begins to fail. In 1900, Galveston had no satellite image, no phone alert, and no modern evacuation system. Thousands died when the Gulf crossed the island. The city expected a storm. It did not understand the height, speed, or force of the surge. By the time the danger became obvious, escape was nearly gone. Modern forecasts give you something Galveston never had: time. But time only saves you if you act before wind, traffic, and floodwater remove your options. Your first question is not, how strong is the hurricane? It is, am I in an evacuation zone, a flood zone, or a structure that cannot protect me? If local authorities order evacuation, leave. The order is not a prediction that every house will fail. It is a warning that rescue may become impossible. Do not wait for proof outside your window. The proof may arrive as water across the road, a fallen tree, or wind too strong for emergency vehicles. Leave early enough to travel in ordinary conditions. Once tropical storm force winds begin, bridges may close, debris may fly, and public transport may stop. Where do you go? Inland, away from storm surge zones, to a sturdy building that officials consider safe, not merely to a place that feels familiar. A friend's house is only safer if it is outside the threatened water zone, built well, and reachable before the route becomes dangerous. A designated shelter may be uncomfortable. That is not the same as unsafe. Survival rarely looks private, quiet, or convenient. Take what cannot be replaced quickly: medication, identification, essential documents, chargers, water, basic food, and the information needed to contact your family. Protect documents from water. Keep medicine with you. A perfect supply kit left behind is useless once the road closes. Charge every device, but assume the network will fail. A battery radio may become your only connection to warnings after the power disappears. Fuel early. Withdraw only the cash you reasonably need. Tell someone where you are going. Small preparations prevent desperate decisions later. The final hours are not the time to protect every object you own. Secure what you can, then protect the people inside the building, or leave it. If you stay because no evacuation was ordered, your safest place depends on two threats that can demand opposite movement: wind and rising water. For high wind, choose a small interior room, closet, or hallway, away from windows, with as many walls as possible between you and the storm. The lowest protected level is usually best for wind, unless that level can flood. Water changes the rule immediately. If floodwater rises, move to the highest level you can reach safely. But never climb into a sealed attic without a way onto the roof. A closed attic can become an airless wooden box as water fills the house below. Higher is not safer if there is no escape. Windows are not viewing screens. Glass can fail inward, carrying rain and fragments through a room in a single violent instant. Stay away from skylights and glass doors. Close interior doors. Keep shoes, a flashlight, and head protection within reach. The garage door is often a wide, vulnerable opening. If it fails, pressure can enter the house and increase damage to walls and roof. You cannot hold a roof down with courage. Your protection comes from distance, structure, and the walls between your body and the outside. Listen to the building. Repeated impacts, cracking timber, and sudden pressure changes may tell you to move deeper into the structure. Then the sound changes. The wind weakens. Rain stops. A strange brightness appears. You may be inside the eye. Do not go outside. The calm can be brief, and the opposite side of the eye wall returns with violent wind from a new direction. People have stepped into that silence believing the storm was over. Minutes later, the world attacked from the opposite direction. Stay sheltered until official messages say the danger has passed. The sky is not an all-clear signal. Now imagine the wind never reaches your room. The floor stays solid, yet seawater begins moving through the neighborhood like a river. Storm surge is not an ordinary tide. Wind and pressure push ocean water inland, while waves ride on top and strike farther into the coast. It can travel through bays, rivers, canals, and low ground. A house miles from open beach may still sit inside the path of the sea. This is why elevation and evacuation zones matter more than the distance you can see from your front door. Never drive into floodwater. Depth is difficult to judge, pavement may be gone, and current can move a vehicle before you understand its force. A familiar road can become a channel. A bridge can lose its approach. A shortcut can end beneath moving water. Turn around. Find another route. If no safe route remains, return to a sturdy building rather than gamble against water. If your vehicle becomes trapped in rapidly rising water, the situation can change within seconds. Avoiding the water is the survival decision. After landfall, silence can be deceptive. The storm may be moving away, but damaged roads, unstable structures, and hidden electrical hazards remain. Do not return because the rain has stopped. Return only when officials say the route and area are safe. Treat every fallen power line as live. Water and electricity erase the warning signs your eyes normally depend on. Do not touch wet electrical equipment. Do not enter a flooded room if power may still be connected. Use flashlights instead of candles when possible. Gas leaks, damaged wiring, and unstable rooms can turn a small flame into a second disaster. A generator can restore power and silently poison a house. Run it outdoors, far from doors, windows, and vents. Never inside a garage or carport. Carbon monoxide has no smell and no color. After hurricanes, survivors have died in homes that looked completely calm. Floodwater may contain sewage, fuel, chemicals, sharp metal, and animals you cannot see. Keep broken skin out of it whenever possible. Drinking water may also be unsafe. Follow local instructions, use sealed supplies, and never assume clear water is clean water. Heat becomes another enemy when power fails. Dehydration, medication storage, and exhaustion can turn the recovery period into a medical emergency. Mold can begin after water enters walls and furniture. Drying and cleanup matter, but damaged buildings must be entered cautiously. The storm also tests the mind. Hours of noise, darkness, uncertainty, and isolation can push people toward dangerous decisions. Create rules before fear arrives. Who decides to leave, which route you use, where you meet, and who checks on the most vulnerable person. If someone depends on powered medical equipment, mobility assistance, or refrigerated medicine, the evacuation decision may need to come earlier. A mobile home is not a hurricane shelter. High wind can destroy it even when a nearby stronger building survives. High-rise buildings escape some surge only to face another danger: broken glass and stronger winds above the ground. Move away from exterior windows. Far inland, the hurricane can still kill through rainfall. Rivers rise after landfall, sometimes long after coastal cameras stop broadcasting. Do not let the category number decide your fear. The scale measures wind, not the full danger from surge, rain, tornadoes, or storm size. A weaker storm can flood a vulnerable place. A compact major hurricane can destroy a narrow corridor. Your local risk is more personal than the headline. The forecast cone is not the storm. Dangerous effects extend far outside the line most people watch. Track, speed, size, rainfall, coastline shape, and the angle of approach all change what the storm can do to one community. In 2005, Hurricane Katrina showed how surge, levee failures, infrastructure, and human vulnerability can combine into a disaster larger than the wind alone. In the Florida Keys in 1935, an extraordinarily intense hurricane struck with little time and limited escape. The railway itself could not guarantee rescue. In recent storms, rapid intensification has compressed the final preparation window. A forecast can worsen while you sleep. Uncertainty is not a reason to delay. It is the reason plans must work before anyone knows the exact street, where the worst conditions will arrive. Build your decision around consequences. If leaving late could trap you, leaving early is not overreaction. It is risk management. Know your evacuation zone before hurricane season. Choose more than one destination and more than one route. Keep supplies where you can reach them in darkness. Test radios, batteries, alarms, shutters, and backup power before the forecast becomes urgent. Photograph important property, protect insurance information, and secure the home. But remember, possessions never outrank an evacuation order. Choose one person outside the region as a contact. When local networks overload, a distant connection may help reunite people. Then decide the sentence you will obey without debate. If officials say leave, you leave. If floodwater reaches this point, you move higher. When the warning arrives, the storm is still offshore. That is the moment survival can feel least urgent and matter most. Hours later, the same road may be underwater. The same bridge may be closed. The same house may no longer offer a safe room. The hurricane does not care whether you were certain. It only meets the choice you made before conditions became impossible. So where do you go? Out of the evacuation zone, inland, or to an approved shelter before wind and water close the route. If you are not ordered to leave, shelter deep inside a sturdy building, away from glass, ready to move higher if water begins to rise. Stay inside through the eye. Avoid floodwater. Wait for the official all clear. Treat the aftermath as part of the disaster. History does not promise that every prepared person survives. It proves that certain decisions repeatedly give people a better chance. The strongest wall may protect your body. The earliest decision protects your escape. In a hurricane, survival often begins before the first violent gust. The sky is darkening. The warning has been issued. The road is still open. Could you make the decision before your home becomes a death trap?